Hey guys, today let's work with print person details from CodingDors, right? So write a Python function that takes two input strings, name and age, and returns a new string in the following format. Name is age. For instance, if the name is Maria and the age is 20, the function should return Maria is 20, right? So pretty simple. We are going to have a string to name and to age, and we should just return the name is the age that we have in the variable age, right? First, let's copy and paste this as comments, what CodingDors expect us to return, and let's copy and paste the function as well, right? Let's take a look in the theory here. Right away we can see some example here of what we should do. We just have to concatenate one variable with one string, which is that we have to see in the middle of our final string. So Maria is 20. So we have the name and the age, and we have to put the is between them. Just working with strings and concatenating them. So let's go to VS Code here. Pretty easy. We just have to return the name from our function plus the string is, right? Plus the string age. This should return us the right result. Let's copy this and paste here in CodingDors. And if we run this code, we are not going to pass. Why is that? If you see here the expected, G is 24, Leo is 10. Yes, we expect to return this in the right way, with spaces between the name, the is, and the age. But here we are running the code without spaces. This is pretty simple to fix as well. We just have to put, of course, two spaces, one before and one after our string is. Just like this, we can return and run the right code, okay? Always remember to put these spaces, because when we concatenate a string with variable or whatever, it will put them together, force them together without spaces, right? So always keep in mind to use those spaces before and after. Let's run and debug. I'm going to use one example here, for example, print, so we can see in the terminal after. Let's call the function print person details, and let's send some values to name, for example, Leo, and let's send, let me do capitalized here, Leo, and then as age we can put 23, for example. Let's say G is 25, right? Let's save. Don't forget to put the white spaces here before and after, just like we did in CodingDors. Let's put a breakpoint here in line 8, which is the first line our code is going to read. Let's just run and debug. So here we are going to print after all, but first we are going to call the function print person details, and we are sending Leo and the age 23 respectively, right, to our function. Let's step into, and then we have, just like expected, the name Leo and the age 23, and now we should just return with this format. The name is with the spaces before and after, and the age. Let's step into, and we have just returned from the function print person details to our code, Leo is 23. If we step into, we should print this in our terminal. Let's see, Leo is 23, right? Just like this, the second example. Now G is 25, right? Name G and age 25. We should print this, but with the string is in the middle, right? Let's step into, we just return it from the function G is 25. Then finally we can print this in the terminal, okay? As usual, you can see the AI suggestions here in CodingDors, some other ways you can get the same result. Here you can see another way using the dot format. You can put here the spaces you want to format after with the name or age or any other variable you can have in our function. In this case, it's using the dot format name and age, so it will respectively fill both of these spaces with the name, is, and the age right after. Here you can see other way using f strings that we can do. This is the same way we did, right? Concatenating the name plus the string is with the spaces before and after, concatenating with the age, and using dot format and f strings just like that, right? So that's it, guys, for print person details. Hello guys, let's solve title movie from CodingDors, right? So write a Python function that takes a string movie and returns a new string with every word in the movie name capitalized. For instance, if the movie name is The Lord of the Rings, the function should return The Lord of the Rings, but capitalized with all the first letters in uppercase. Just like we can see in the examples here, The Lord of the Rings capitalized, Star Wars capitalized with the letter S and W with are the first letters in uppercase, okay? Pretty simple. We can take a look here in the theory to keep in mind. Here we can see some things, we can concatenate some things. Here we have the string, we know this already, and here we can see something we could use, right? The title title refers to the first letter of each word will be capitalized. Example, if we use a string, for example, hello world, all in lowercase, and we use the dot title parenthesis, we should return hello world, but now capitalized with the first letters in uppercase. So just like that, we could solve this problem, the title movie. As usual, let's copy and paste the expected results here as comments in VS Code. Let's paste as well our function, okay, our function here, and let's just use the dot title function. So let's just return right away the movie, right? Dot title parenthesis. This should return the name of the movie all capitalized. So if we have Star Wars all in lowercase, we should return Star Wars now capitalized. Let's save, copy and paste this here in VS Code, and if we run, yes, that's it, that's the solution, we got all green. Okay, let's use run and debug so we can understand a little bit more of what's happening and how the dot title function works. I'm going to put another step here so we can see a little bit more how it's working. Or we are going to just run and debug and go right away to returning the movie with the dot title function. So I'm going to remove this movie. I'm going to use, for example, upper, okay, equals to the movie dot title. So we are adding one more step, and then we are just going to return the upper variable that I just created here, which will hold the name of the movie capitalized, right? Let's print here, let's finish our code, let's print and call the function title movie. I'm going to give a name of a movie, for example, Star Wars, just like we have up here. I'm going to give just other example, let's say, for example, Scream. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here in line 9, which is the first line our code is going to read. Let's run and debug. So here we are going to print after all, but first we are calling the function title movie and sending the string, the name of the movie Star Wars, but all in lowercase, right? Let's step into, here we have inside of movie the string Star Wars, our movie Star Wars, and now we are going to use the dot title in our string movie, and then we should store this movie now capitalized in our variable upper, right? Let's step into, and now, just like we thought it would happen, inside of upper now we have the same movie that we had before, but now capitalized with the first letters all in uppercase. Now we should just return this variable. Let's step into. Now we have returned from the title movie function the string Star Wars, right? Now we should just print this in our terminal. In the second example, the same thing, screen. We are sending screen all in lowercase. Step into, we have used the dot title function. Now we have it capitalized. Let's step into, we have returned from the function the screen capitalized, and now we can print, okay? So that's how the dot title works. As usual, you can see here the AI suggestions in CodingDors to keep in mind some other ways to solve the same problem, right? Here we can see some way to solve the problem using the dot split function, which is other function that we can use. So we split the movie title into a list of words, right? So then when we have the words separated, we can use the capitalized words, the word dot capitalize, and then we can join the capitalized words back into a single string, and then we are going to have all of the words, their first letter in uppercase. We can see some other ways to solve. You can really slowly understand, just like in this problem and in all of the problems from CodingDors. So that's how we solve title movie. Hello guys, now let's solve the upper movie problem from CodingDors, right? Let's read here the problem. Write a Python function that takes a string movie and returns a new string with every character in the movie name converted to uppercase. For instance, if the movie name is The Lord of the Rings, the function should return The Lord of the Rings all in uppercase, right? Here we have some examples, The Lord of the Rings all in uppercase and Star Wars all in uppercase as well. So let's take a look here in the theory so we can see if there's something, any clue we can use to solving this. We can see here something about string. We don't need this for now. And we can see here in the third item, uppercase. Uppercase refers to the capital letters in the English alphabet, A to Z. Okay, for example, if we use text equals to a string, dot upper parenthesis, we should return hello world all in uppercase. So that's exactly what we want to solve the upper movie problem, right? As always, let's copy the expected results here in VS Code so we can keep in mind what we expect to return. Let's paste as well here the function that CodingDors gave to us, and pretty simple. We should just return the name of the movie, all capitalized, right? All in uppercase, actually. So we are going to return movie, the variable movie, dot upper, which is the function we saw there in the theory from CodingDors. This should return the name of the movie, all in uppercase. Let's copy this resolution and paste here in CodingDors. Let's run. And as expected, we got all green. All of the names of the movies are in uppercase, just like expected, right? Let's use run and debug in VS Code so we can understand a little bit more how this is working, how the function works in the string, the original string. So I'm going to add one more step here, so it just don't return right away the name in uppercase. So I'm going to remove this return and create a variable to store this move in uppercase first. Let's call final, okay, equals to movie.upper, parentheses, right? And then we can finally return our variable final, which will store the name of the movie all in uppercase, right? Then let's finish our code. Let's print call the function upper movie here and give some movies to our function. Let's say Star Wars, just like the example CodingDors gave to us. Let's say as well Scream, for example. And let's run and debug so we can see. Let's put a breakpoint here in line 9, which is the first line our code is going to read. And let's run and debug. We are going to print after all, but first we are calling the upper movie function and sending the name of the movie Star Wars to our function. So let's step into just like we expected, inside of movie we have Star Wars, right? Now this movie all in uppercase should be stored in the variable final, so we could return this to our code. So let's step into, and now we can see inside of final we have the same movie we had before, but now all in uppercase, not in lowercase. And then we should just return the name of this movie to our code. Just like we can see here, we have returned from the upper move function Star Wars all in uppercase. And then finally we can print the name of the movie here in the terminal. Same thing for the second example, Scream. We are going to send Scream all in lowercase. We are going to use the .upper function in this string, and we are going to return to store in the final variable Scream all in uppercase, and then we can return to our code and finally just return it. We can just print in our terminal screen. Just like any other movie we can put here and return all in uppercase, right? As always, you can take a look here in the AI suggestions from CodingDors to keep in mind some other ways you can solve the same problem and get the same result and pass all the tests, right? You can read slowly. You can see here some other codes you can use to solve, right? And that's it, guys, for upper movie. Hey guys, let's work with lower movie from CodingDors functions and variables, okay? Very similar to the past two exercises. Write a Python function that takes a string movie and returns a new string with every character in the move name converted to lowercase. For instance, if the move name is the Lord of the Rings, capitalized, only with the first letters of each word uppercase, the function should return the Lord of the Rings with all of the letters in lowercase, okay? As usual, let's copy and do our exercise in VS Code so we can picture a little bit better how it works. Okay, let's copy these examples and paste here as comments in VS Code so we can see what CodingDors expect us to answer. Okay, and now let's paste finally the function that CodingDors is defined. Okay, lower movie. Let's paste here as well. If we see the problem is asking us to return a new string with the name of the movie, but now all in lowercase, okay? So we can right away do a return inside of our function and use right away the variable movie, which is being called in our function. But now what can we use here to get the name of the movie all in lowercase? As usual, let's see a little bit of the theory CodingDors give to us, the function we are already calling, the string we have, which is the movie, which will be given to us. And now we can see here the lower, okay? This method returns the string in lowercase letters, which is what we want. For example, let's say text. If we have hello world all in uppercase and use .lower, we are just receiving, printing or returning hello world or all in lowercase. So let's use the .lower. So we are returning our movie, and I just have to use the .lower after, right? Here, if we run our code here in the terminal, we are not going to return or print anything because we are not giving any value to our variable movie. But let's use in CodingDors, which we just have to complete our function. So here in CodingDors, if we paste return movie.lower and we run, it should work. Just like this, we passed all the tests. Star Wars, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Godfather, Jaws, all in lowercase. Okay, here in VS Code, let's do some things to understand a little bit better with run and debug the step-by-step of the code we just typed. Let's add another phase, another step here in our function so we can see actually the .lower working. So instead of returning right away our result, let's just put another phase here. Let's call result can be result, equals to movie.lower. And now we can return the result, okay, which will be the expected result of movie.lower, okay. And now if we run, we still don't have any result because we are not giving a variable to movie, a value to movie. So let's give this value by ourselves. Let's use the same example that CodingDors used. Okay, let's print right away, which we want to print here in the terminal so we can see what's going on. And then let's call our function. And now we can send a name of a movie. Let's say Star Wars. Star Wars, just like in the example from CodingDors, okay? Let's save and let's see. Now if we run this code, sorry, I just ran the code and it's in lowercase, but we actually put the name all in lowercase in the beginning, so it wouldn't work. Okay, let's say a couple letters in uppercase and a couple letters in lowercase. Now let's run again, and now we should return all in lowercase, okay? We can do another examples here. We can print other movies after this. Let's say screen, in uppercase, of course, screen. Then let's just put The Lord of the Rings here. The Lord of the Rings. Now if we run, we should return the three names all in lowercase. If we run in debug from letter 9 here, let's put our breakpoint here and let's run in debug, because the first line our code is reading is the line 9, okay, because we are not calling the function yet. So here in line 9 we don't have anything, we are just wanting to print something, but to get this something that we are going to print, we are calling this function, lower movie, which is the function we are working in CodingDors. So let's step into, now we are inside of our function, so we call the function and we send the Star Wars string to the variable movie inside of our function, which is stored in here. As you can see, movie is equals to Star Wars, all in this upper and lower case that we typed. Now we have the movie and we are using .lower, so we store the name of movie, but in .lower inside of the variable result, so we can see this other step. Okay, let's step into, and now we have, after the variable movie, we used the .lower, and now we have the result all in lowercase, which is what we want. And now we just have to return this to our print, so we can print in the terminal and see what's going on. So let's step into, we are going to get out of the function, but now we have returned from the function lower movie Star Wars all in lowercase. And now we just have to print in the terminal. The same thing goes for the other movies. Now we are going to letter 10 inside of the function, getting our name all in lower, returning, and then printing. The same thing for the Lord of the Rings. Okay, now we have the three names all in lowercase. So that's how actually the .lower will be working for us. Okay, as usual, if you want, you can take a look at the AI suggestions in our website. It will give another solutions to the same problem. Here you can see another solution, and it gives a little explanation here right below. And then you can take a look and see another scenarios where you can use in another different cases the same thing and the same appliance for the .lower. Okay, so that's it. Hello everyone, let's solve remove white spaces from CodingDors. We have given a string s, return a new string without leading or trailing white spaces. Okay, so we have these examples. We have a string here, but we have some spaces before and some spaces after the string. And we should return the same string without the spaces, even before and after our string. As usual, let's go to VS Code, copy the examples. We should return, paste here as comments, and now we can paste the function that is being defined in the problem. Basically, the problem wants us to remove the white spaces in the string. Let's take a look in the theory that CodingDors give to us. We can see here some things about using the upper method, and here we have a strip method, which will be the method that we're going to use to remove those white spaces. So this function returns a copy of the original string with all leading and trailing white spaces removed. Example, we have this string with some spaces before and after, remove white space, and we use print, for example, our word, which is represented by the variable s, dot strip and parentheses, and this should output the same string from the variable s, but without any white spaces. Let's use this dot strip. So we want to return a new string without those spaces. So here in VS Code, first of all, let's do return, and then our variable, which is s, that CodingDors will give to us some string from this variable, and then dot strip parentheses. Okay, we don't have to put anything inside the parentheses in this method. If I run here in VS Code, nothing is going to happen because we didn't give any value to the variable s. But if we take this result and paste here in CodingDors and run, we can see that we are going to pass all the tests. We can see here that we got all green. Let's do this example, but with a few more steps in VS Code so we can understand a little bit how the dot strip method works. First of all here, let's give a value to the s variable, okay? So let's print right away, call the remove function, and then we can give, for example, space, hey, and a lot of spaces before. Let's give another examples here to run. Let's give some Leo, for example, without spaces before, only after our string, and let's say hello world, just like we have in the example from CodingDors. Let's save and run our code. Python remove white spaces.py, and then we can see that the code ran hey without any spaces, Leo in hello world. Okay, so we just removed all the spaces that we didn't want in our string. So let's run and debug, since we already got all green in CodingDors and we see that it's working from the terminal here. Let's use the run and debug. As usual, I'm going to put another step in our function so we can visualize a little bit more of the variables and values changing in the run and debug. So let's do result equals to s.strip, and then we can return the result. Run and debug from line 9, which is the first line that our code is going to read. Okay, let's step into. We just sent to the variable of s a hey with a lot of spaces before and after, just like we can see here. So our s has value hey with a lot of spaces. When we jump into, when we step into, the dot strip method should work, and then in the variable result we should have the same hey but without any of those spaces, and that's exactly what we can see here. Now result holds the value of just hey without any spaces, and then we are going to return this result to our print. Okay, and now we just have to print the same result. We can see here function variables just returned from the remove white space function just the hey without any spaces. Let's step into, and then we have printed in the terminal hey. We can see in all the other examples the same thing, Leo with spaces, Leo without spaces, then we can print the same thing for hello world and a lot of spaces. Hello world without any space, we return, and then we print, okay, all in the terminal. This is the same way that is working in CodingDors. The only difference is that we don't have to give values to send to our function, because CodingDors is already sending. We just have to complete our function so it returns the right values, okay? Here in CodingDors, as always, you can take a look in the AI suggestions so you can keep in mind another ways to solve the problem, explanations about the method and what you could use to solve everything in different scenarios. So that's it for remove white spaces. Hey guys, now let's solve replace words from CodingDors functions and variables, okay? Write a Python function that takes 3 input strings A, B, and C and returns a new string obtained by replacing all occurrences of the string B in the string A with the string C. For instance, if the string A is the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog, string B is fox and string C is cat. The function should return the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. So we have an example here for a replacement. So A is basically the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. B we have fox, and C we have cat. And our goal here is just to replace fox for cat. So we know that the letter A we are going to be used, and we just have to change B and C to get the right result. Okay, so let's just put this example as always in VS Code. Let's put this as a comment and just paste the function right below. So we want to return and just change a word for another, which is fox. We want to replace for cat. That's why our problem it's called replace words. So let's take a look in the theory. We have here string, and then we can see here replace. As we know, this is probably a method which we can replace a word by another. The replace method in Python is used to replace all occurrences of a string with another string. It takes two arguments, the first one being the string to be replaced and the second one being the string to replace it. Okay, so we want to take fox, which is the letter B, and we want to replace for fox. So we want to take the letter B, which represents fox, and replace two letters C, which represents cat, inside our phrase, which is letter A. So we can use the dot replace, but keep in mind here that different from the other methods that we used, we should put inside of the parentheses the letters that represents what we want to change. So the first letter will be the first string, which we already have in the phrase, and the second letter will be the phrase, the word that we want to substitute, to change in the new string, and then we will replace a word by another. So here we should return, as the exercise asks us. Return A, which is our phrase. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. We should replace fox, which is the letter B, for the letter C, which is cat. So we are going to return the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. So we have A, here we can use the dot replace, parentheses, and then first of all we want to take the letter B, which is fox, and replace for letter C, which is cat. And this way we should return the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. Let's paste this in CodingDors, and we should run and get the right results, just like we expected, all green. Okay, let's give some value here for A, B, and C, the same example that we have. Let's print right away, call the function replace words, and give some values. Okay, we can give for A the same phrase that CodingDors gave to us. Okay, let's give for letter B fox. Okay, and letter C, let's give the same thing as CodingDors cat. So we don't have something really difficult and far from our example. Okay, let's run the code. Python replace words.py, and then we have the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. Let's run and debug so we can see right away what's happening here. Let's put another step in the middle here, jump equals to a dot replace, and then we just return jump. Okay, let's put a breakpoint here and run and debug. So here the first line is print, and we are calling the function. So let's step into, and we are inside of the function, and we send the values to A, B, and C. To A we send the quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. For B we send fox. Okay, for C we send cat, just in the same order that we have here in the function. Let's step into. Now our dot replace should work for replacing fox to cat, and now we have in the variable jump, just like we assigned here, the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. So we just changed the words, okay, B for C. And now we have inside of jump, we are returning this value. Let's step into, and then we just returned from the replace words function, the quick brown cat jumps over the lazy dog. It's not fox anymore. And then we are just going to print the result in the terminal, just like we wanted in CodingDors, for example, to get all green. That's how it works. As usual, you can take a look in the AI suggestions in CodingDors to see another solution and other ways to solve the same problem, or some explanation for the dot replace method, and you can take a look and read slowly to understand a little bit more. Okay guys, so that's it for replace words. Hello guys, today let's solve round floats from CodingDors functions and variables, okay? So given a float n, return the number with only 2 decimal places. So we are going to use some method to achieving this. Let's take a look, first of all, in the theory, before we do the usual. Rounding. Rounding a float means reducing the number of digits after the decimal points to a desired number. The round parentheses, dot round method, function in Python can be used to round numbers. So round is a method, and then we can put a number or can be a variable, and right after we can put the amount of decimal digits we want after. This is basically what we are going to use. So first of all, let's do the basics. Let's copy the desired results here in VS Code as comments, okay? And let's put in VS Code as well our function that CodingDors gave to us. So we just want to return the number, which is in float, with only 2 decimal places, not more, not less than this. Okay, so if we have, for example, 75.12345 we don't want to return the 3, 4, 5, and 6. We want to stop in the 1 and 2 because that's only 2 decimal places. So like we saw in the theory, let's go to VS Code right away. We have to return. So we have to give our float is inside the variable n. We don't know the exact number. So remember, we need to round and put the variable and the number that we want to round, and after the number we should put the amount of the decimal number. So let's do round parentheses our number, which is stored in the variable n, and then the amount of decimal places, in this case 2, which is what the exercise is asking us. Let's save. If I run here in VS Code, nothing's going to happen because we didn't give any value to n still. But let's copy and paste in CodingDors, and then we should have all correct, okay, all green. Now in VS Code, we can actually give a value to n, so let's print right away, call the round floats function, and let's give a value to n. For example, 103.555555, okay? And then we have this value. Let's run our code now, python roundfloats.py, and then we should have the same number, but with only 2 decimal places, okay? You can do this using other examples here. Let's see, let's say the same example from CodingDors, let's say, and let's run the code again, and then we should have the 2 different cases, the first one and the second one, which is the same that we saw in CodingDors, okay? Let's use run and debug so it will be more clear. Okay, let's do another phase here as always. So result equals to round n for 2 decimal places, and then we just return to our code the value of result. Let's put a breakpoint here in the first print, which is the first line that our code is going to read. And then here we are asking to print, but we don't have the final value. We are calling the function so we can have this value. So we are sending here the number. Let's step into, and then we have in the variable n inside of our function, we have the same value that we sent here when we call the function. So then now we expect that inside result we have the round method applied, so we have just 2 decimal places. When we step into, is the same thing that we expect. In our result we have just 5, 6 and not a lot of numbers, and then we should return this value to print finally in our terminal the final result. So here we returned from the round floats function 103.56, okay, and then we should just finally print in the terminal. The same thing for the second example, okay, we will send the whole number, then the round will be applied. Now we have just 2 decimal places as expected, then we return and just print in the terminal. So that's how the round method works. After you got all green, okay, you can read, see and learn some other solutions for the same problem, or get some tips and some help for explaining and understanding some other ways to do the same code. So that's it, guys, for round floats. Okay, guys, let's solve remove letter G from CodingDors. So write a Python function that takes a string S and returns a new string obtained by removing all occurrences of the letter G from the string. For instance, if the string is going to the grocery stores, the function should return this string right here without the letter G. So we have this weird string. Okay, so right away, let's just do the basics, copy this example that CodingDors expect us to do as a comment, and just paste as well the function that is being defined. So in this example, we just have to take the string, which we don't know what string it is, but can be, for example, going to the grocery store or any other string, and we just have to remove the letter G, all of the letter G's. Without looking into the theory from CodingDors, we can remember from the previous exercises, there was one exercise that we used a method, the .strip method, to remove the white spaces from before and after our string that we didn't want anymore. So let's take a look now in the theory. I think we should use the .strip. If we go a little bit down, we can see right here the strip method. But we should remove only one letter, the letter G, all of the letter G's from our string. So then we have this other information here. Okay, we have a string, and then we used the strip method in our string, and we put inside of the parentheses the letter that we want to remove from our string. So that's what we have to do. The strip method, just like we used before to remove white spaces, when we use just with the parentheses without anything inside, the strip method will understand that we want to remove just the white spaces. If we put some letter, more than one letter, inside of the parentheses, the strip method will not remove the spaces, but it will remove that letter or those letters that you signalized inside of the parentheses. So we just have to use the strip method the same way and put the letter G inside of the parentheses, and this should give the right result that we are looking for. Okay, so we just have to return this new string without the letter G. So let's do this. Let's return the variable s, which will be a string dot strip, and inside the parentheses let's put, for example, the letter G, which is the letter we want to remove. Okay, let's save. Let's paste this result here in CodingDors, and we run. We should have all green, just like we can see here. Congratulations, you passed all the tests. Let's go back to VS Code and let's understand a little bit more about how the method works. We actually did the same thing before in white spaces. If you guys didn't see the video, we used the same method, strip, but without anything inside of the parentheses, as I said. Now let's give a value to the variable s here in VS Code. So let's say print. Let's call our function, okay? Inside the function, let's give a value, I don't know, for example, good. Okay, which we have the letter G right here. Okay, if we save and rerun our code, we can see that we have just OOD without the letter G from good. Okay, let's run in debug so we can understand a little bit more. Let's put a breakpoint here in the first line of our code. Here in run in debug, we are printing, but we are calling first our function, and we are sending the string good to our function, the variable s. Let's step into now. As I said, the variable s holds the string good. Now we are going to apply the dot strip to our string good, and now we should return good without the letter G. Okay. If we see here, we returned something from the remove letter G function, and now we just returned OOD without the G, which was the action of the dot strip, okay, since we put the letter G inside of the parentheses. If we step into, now we are going to print in the terminal the string that we want. Now, as usual, like every other problem, you can see some suggestions from the AI to learn a little bit more of the replace method or the strip, or some other ways you can solve the same problem. You can actually replace the letter G for another thing. In order to remove this letter G, you can use the strip as well. There are, of course, other ways to solve. Here in the AI, you can have some suggestions. Here in the theory, you can have some others. You can also use the hints. If it's very difficult, you can use the hints to solve more easily. Okay, so that's it for remove letter G. Hello everyone, let's solve the last problem, convert miles from functions and variables here in CodingDors. Okay, so given an integer n, return the kilometers that this number of miles represents. Actually, the integer n is going to be a number in kilometers, in miles, and we have to return the same amount of miles in kilometers. Here we have a hint, 1 mile equals to 1.6 blah 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 kilometers, okay? And as usual, let's copy and paste in VS Code the examples CodingDors give to us, examples of correct answers and what we should return. Let's paste as well the function that CodingDors is giving to us. And now, if we think about it, it's pretty simple. We don't have to use any method or something like this. We can just use an operation of multiplication, okay? If we have 1 mile, which is equals to this amount of kilometers, we just have to multiply the amount of miles that the variant n is going to give to us for this amount of kilometers. So if we have 1 mile, we are going to return 1.60934, which is the amount of kilometers. And we should return this right amount. So let's just do return n, which is our variable, multiplied by this value right here. Okay, we can copy and just paste in here. Okay, this should give the right result for us. Let's paste here in CodingDors, run, and as you can see, we passed all the tests. Okay, pretty simple, this problem. Let's take a look here in VS Code how this actually works a little bit more. Let's give different numbers to the variant n. Okay, let's print right away. As usual, convert miles, let's call the function, and let's give, for example, 20, okay? And then if we run our code, so Python convert miles.py, and there we can see the amount of kilometers that 20 miles represents, okay? Let's run in debug so we can finish and understand a little bit more of how the problem works. It's pretty simple, right? So let's put the breakpoint here in line 8, which is the first line that our code is going to read. Let's step into, okay? We're going to send the value of 20 miles, okay? Which is stored in the variable n, the letter n, and now we are just multiplying this amount of miles to the same amount of kilometers that it represents, okay? And then we are going to return from the function convert miles the amount of kilometers that 20 miles represents. Then let's step into the final part, and we're going to print in the terminal the result. As always, you can see here in CodingDors some AI suggestions, so you can keep in mind some other ways you can solve the same problem. You can take a look in the theory as well. We didn't have to use the theory in this problem because we didn't have to use any method, any specific condition to do this, just a simple math operation, okay? Hello guys, let's solve should take umbrella from conditionals. The first problem from conditionals in CodingDors. Parameter is raining is true if it's raining, and the parameter it's sunny is true if we have a sunny day. We should take an umbrella if it's not sunny or it's raining. Return true if we should take a umbrella. It's pretty simple. We should return true if we should take an umbrella. And the condition, so we have to take the umbrella, is if it's raining and if it's not sunny, okay? Or one or another. They don't depend on each other, so you have to take an umbrella. So here we are going to use if and else conditionals, okay? It's pretty simple, so let's, as usual, copy the expected examples that we should return. Let's put as comments here in VS Code. And now let's paste our function. So we already understood the problem. So let's begin. We should return true if we should take indeed the umbrella, if it's raining or if it's not sunny. The first if, we can use just one if to solve this, okay? So if it's raining equals true, so yes, it's raining, we should take an umbrella. Or in the other scenario, if is sunny equals false, that means that if it's not raining but it's not sunny as well, we should take an umbrella just to prevent anything, right? But if it's raining right away, we should take an umbrella, of course. This is common sense. So if it's raining it's true or it's sunny is false, we should return true. So yes, we are in trouble, we have to take an umbrella with us. Else, not in any other scenario, we can return false, okay? We don't have to take an umbrella with us. So let's copy the code, paste here in CodingDors. I'm going to fix the indentation here, okay? So it works pretty nice. Let's run, and yeah, just like expected, we are passing all the tests, okay? We have all green. Here in VS Code, let's give some value to our function. Let's give some Boolean value. So let's call our function and give some values here. So let's pretend, yes, it's raining and it's sunny as well, okay? It's raining and it's sunny. And let's give another examples here, like it's not raining, and it's sunny, okay? So it's not raining, the sky is very clear, and all good, okay? And let's give another example other way, which is not raining and is not sunny as well. So let's run and debug from this line and see what's going on. So we are going to print and we are going to call the function and send, yes, it's raining and yes, it's sunny, okay? So we are going inside of our function, is raining is equals to true now, and is sunny is equals to true as well, okay? If is raining is equals to true, we are expecting to return, yes, you should take an umbrella to leave your house. I don't know, okay? It doesn't matter if it's sunny or not, because one of the conditionals are satisfied. So when we step into, we should go to return true. Yes, this condition is indeed true. So we return from our should take umbrella function the value of true. And then we are back to our print, and then we are going to print true. Yes, you should take an umbrella. Okay, the second case we are going to send false, is not raining, and true, it's a sunny day. So both of these scenarios are not being satisfied. Okay, so it's not raining and it's very sunny. So we are going to skip this and go right away to the else and return false and print in the terminal, no, you shouldn't take an umbrella, it's very sunny, it's not raining. And the last scenario, it's raining, it's false, it's not raining, but it's not sunny as well, so you should take care. And one of our conditionals is being satisfied, so we are going to return true and print, yes, you should take an umbrella with you today, okay? So that's basically the should take umbrella problem. As always, you can take a look in the AI suggestions here in CodingDors, so you see another ways to solve the same problem, some explanations about the problem which our AI give to us, and you can always take a look in the theory and in the hints, so you can keep in mind some other things about the resolution of the whole problem. So if you want to have one-on-one mentoring from us, schedule your free meeting above on meeting. Okay, bye bye, see you next time.